Okay, for the next exercise, this one is going to be pretty brutal on your hips. So we're going to be working on your hip extensors and your hip abductors at the same time. And so you're going to be in a glute bridge position and you're going to have the ankle strap on. We're going to have it on. Play around with the resistance. Let's start with the lightest one and see how it goes. And then if that is too easy, feel free to bump it up. So you're going to have this on the outside leg. You can also play around with where you want to anchor this. So this, when it's closer to the foot, is going to be the hardest because it's going to make it the longest lever. And if you want it easier, you're going to go closer to the knee or even right above the knee, okay? So I always have people kind of start with like that mid-shin area and kind of play with that position first. So now you're going to scoot out until you have some good resistance on the vector. This leg is going to go up in the air, and then you're going to do a glute bridge and down. Glute bridge and down. And you don't want this leg to cross midline. So you want it to stay in its own lane as you do this glute bridge. That's going to be too easy for you. I think that we need to make it harder.
I don't think we can. I think it's going to be pretty hard.
Some little tips for your glute bridge. When you're doing a glute bridge, the main goal is to work on hip extension. So don't let yourself go into spinal extension when you're doing this. So you want to make sure that you keep those ribs down and go up and just use the glute on that right side. So he should just be feeling glute and not any lower spine. And then make sure that this leg stays in its own lane. I'd kind of go a little bit more. You want it in line with that hip. Perfect. And if that was too easy for him, he could either scoot out or change the resistance level on the vector and make it harder. And I'm all about challenging people because if it's too easy, it's really not doing what you want it to do. So you make sure that it is what I call appropriately challenging. That's my favorite term. Okay, we're going to go ahead and switch the anchor for filming purposes. All right, for the other side, same thing. So if he wants it harder, he's going to have the strap actually attached lower down the leg. If you want it easier, it's going to be closer at that knee area. Looks good to me. He's like, I'm going to make it a little easier. Okay, so he's going to be doing a glute bridge now on the left side. Going to be keeping that right leg in its own lane. Looks good to me. Maybe don't go up as high because you're starting to go into a little bit of your spine. So go a little bit lower. It's not about the height when you're doing these exercises. You just want to isolate the muscles that you want to work. So right now we really want to engage that glute on that left side. And if he goes beyond a certain point, you're going to feel it in your lower back. And that's not what we're going for this specific exercise. Once again, we're going to do between like 8 to 12 repetitions. You can make it harder, more challenging based on the distance you are away from the vector or the resistance. And that is the single leg glute bridge with the hip abduction.